Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Mori.
Yeah, so this year would mark the 61st year of Kenya gaining its independence from Britain during the colonial times.
Right, and when they say a leopard never changes its colors, this video that we're about to play you right now is a perfect example of what colonials used to do in Africa, specifically in Kenya, and what they keep doing in this present day in Kenya without any consequences, if I may add.
Yeah, you guys, the video we are about to play you is it's unbelievable that this is still happening, and with the aid of the Kenyan government, I believe, plus the British government, right? But before we talk too much, let's just watch this video and then we come back and talk about it. If you have any comment, please leave it in the comment section and let's have an engaging platform, right? Let's watch.
She's just 17, but Marian lives alone in this single-room house, a mixed-race girl in rural Kenya where nobody looks like her.
They actually call me poor white girl. I don't know why they call me poor white girl. They always say, why are you here? Just look for a connection that you will go to your own people. You don't belong in here.
Marian's mother, Lydia Juma, was among hundreds of women who accused soldiers from the British Army Training Unit Kenya, Batuk, of rape. She was interviewed in this 2011 documentary.
Because in our tribe, we can't report that thing. It's a big shame if you go and say that you have been raped.
Lydia Juma died 2 years after that interview, and Marian has never met her father. She has to fend for herself in a society that ostracizes her.
You have not lost hope of finding your father someday?
No, I've never lost hope.
Mixed-race children keep being born in the remote villages where the British Army trains in Kenya. Generica Namoru says she was in a consensual relationship with a British soldier while she worked at their base, but she claims he has never supported her since she gave birth.
I'm a woman with a white child. It's not easy for my family, especially because a child is expensive. She's suffering for no good reason.
So you just want him to take responsibility for his daughter?
Yeah, nothing else. For him, I want him to take care of the education, health.
Have you ever received a cent from him since she was born?
I've never received any cent.
Generica is jobless and says she has unsuccessfully tried to petition local authorities and the British Army to find her ex-boyfriend. The British High Commission told CNN it cooperates with local child support authorities in paternity claims. But the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights says the UK government has made no effort to hold soldiers accountable in such cases.
These children really deserve British citizenship. They are British kids. Their fathers were British.
So the British government is just not interested in resolving these cases?
We don't think they are interested. We call it BBBB, British boys behaving badly.
The UK pays Kenya about $400,000 a year to allow up to 10,000 British soldiers to train in the country. Kenya renewed the 5-year deal in 2021 despite opposition from some local groups, lawmakers, and human rights defenders.
We have also had cases where these women and people who have reported have been intimidated. So there is a conspiracy to make sure that justice does not happen for these women.
Allegations of rape and other crimes, including murder, by British soldiers in Kenya date back to the 1950s. These elderly women accused Batuk officers of rape in the 70s and 80s in a landmark case in London over 20 years ago. Ntoye Len Kanan says she was one of them.
I was going to fetch water when I was ambushed by a group of British soldiers who were hiding in the grass near the river. One of them grabbed me and raped me.
In 2007, Britain's Ministry of Defense dismissed over 2,000 claims of rape from mostly Maasai and Samburu women, saying, quote, there was no reliable evidence to support any single allegation. The government in Nairobi lost the case files without explanation. A Royal Military Police investigation concluded that most of the Kenyan evidence appeared to have been fabricated. One Kenyan official called it a cover-up. They did not conduct DNA tests on any of the 69 mixed-race children alleged to have been born as a result of rape by British soldiers. Lawyer Kelvin Kubai is working to reintroduce the case in Kenyan courts. 17-year-old Marian will be the lead plaintiff, taking up a fight her mother didn't win in her lifetime.
It is traumatic and it's psychologically disturbing to people like Marion and many others who continue to see the British training amidst them with all these unresolved trauma and historical injustices.
Larry Medowo, CNN, Nanyuki, Kenya.
So guys, welcome back. Let's just say this video had a lot of emotions and it was making me feel all sorts of way, because the first thing I have to say is I genuinely did not know that the British government was paying Kenyan government for their British soldiers to be training here, you know.
No, that is just normal for them to be paying Kenyan government to train here because they can't do it for free. Me, what shocked me...
it's not that they're doing it for free. It's not the part. Is that I didn't know as a Kenyan citizen, I didn't know that the government was leasing out land for the British soldiers to train in Kenya. You know?
And if you see the community in which these soldiers are training, little to nothing has been done to improve that village.
Community yet. It's $400. $400,000 is being paid to the government so that the soldiers can train in that community.
And this, if I'm not wrong, in the clip it says that this $400,000 is paid per year, meaning that is an equivalent of around 51 million Kenyan shillings.
And guys, let me tell you, okay, first of all, personally, I don't know what you guys feel. Personally, I feel like for British soldiers to be training in Kenya because they're destroying the land in that particular area,
using, you know, wherever the minefields to blow up some raccoon. Well, in Africa there's no raccoons,
but in short, what I'm saying is that money is too little, and
it's very little. Given that, you guys, let me just say it, given that in Kenya, up to 50 million being the minimum amount, 50 million in the Kenyan taxpayers' money gets lost every single day in the county of Nairobi alone, county city of Nairobi alone.
But that just goes to show you how the government is corrupt. And one thing also I have to, the issue that has been raised here, the biracial girl, the 17-year-old who's trying to fend for herself, and you know, when she talks about people ridiculing her from where she comes from, and people telling her that she should look for her father and go live a better life, guys, I can tell you this for free. Africa, well, in Africa, such kids don't live a bad life, if you know what I mean.
Because they come from major cities and are well taken care of by both parents or by a stable parent.
Yeah, and then sad to say, her skin alone is enough to accord her privileges. But you see where she's coming from. And
it's a village.
I don't know if you guys remember us telling you that every sinister things that happen in Africa, it starts from the villages. I don't know if you guys remember us telling you that. And you see these cases that are happening, a lot of it is taking place in a remote area in Kenya. Samburu is a very remote area.
Yeah, guys, imagine, just tell me why in Kenya, a predominantly black society, a Samburu mother has a kid, a biracial child, very, very light, in a community where they're quite dark, if I may mention. And then if they come forward with allegations of sexual assault, nobody wants to listen to them, yet the proof is right there. The babies that are being born there, you know.
Yeah, they're creating a whole new entire generation
and race.
And nobody is taking accountability for these children. And, you know, I feel like the first people to blame is the Kenyan government, because they allowed this community. It's them who opened the gates of, you know.
Yeah, because the community. Yeah, the community didn't have much say in who their neighbors were or who was coming to invade their land. Actually, the government is the one that gives, you know, a leeway for such things to happen, you know, because these people, they count on the government to protect them. Instead, the government turns the other cheek for a mere $400,000.
And then, you know, once these people, it takes a lot of courage for especially from their community. I know you guys had the woman,
Right.
and we live in Kenya. We know how difficult it is for them coming from that community and coming forward with allegation of sexual assault, and then for them to be turned away and told that
they're
lying.
fabricating, and they're being told that they've fabricated stories of being SA'd, yet in the government, someone in the government has made all the case documents to disappear. Not one, not two, but all 2,000 plus case documents to disappear. Do you know the amount of dedication it takes for someone to go and look through case files to make?
It's really, really sad.
It's sad.
It's quite
and then, you
sad.
know, when the British government says that these allegations are not true, how can 2,000 plus women come forward and tell a lie?
And I'm wondering, these are these British soldiers who are training in Kenya. They're the very same people who are supposed to go out and protect their own people.
Their own
so how will they
citizens.
begin protecting if they're harming the vulnerable communities they find in areas where they're going to train? And then another question I want to say is, why is the British government not holding these cases and the people responsible for them? Why are they not holding them accountable for this? Because I feel for every bad behavior, Maureen, even a child, if you don't correct a child in your household, they'll keep on doing what they're doing,
and they'll be a menace to the society out there,
regardless of it being wrong. So the failure of the British government failing to curb those cases and give out punishments in accordance to the crime committed, even them not wanting to acknowledge that these cases are there, is what is making these soldiers misbehave. And this is not, it's not just a black people or a Kenyan people problem. This is something that will even translate to their own
society when they go back home.
Right.
And you know, something we once did a video, an episode about where Maponga was saying, although he was talking about Chinese, how Chinese are coming to breed an entire new race in Africa, a race that would be half African, depending on which country the Chinese man has had a baby with, half African and half Chinese, meaning this breed of kids would be half loyal to Africa, half loyal to China. You know, until I'm asking myself, if the British government is not properly handling this case, does it mean they forcibly want to, you know, inject a new race in Africa?
I don't know, guys. You let us know.
Let us know what you think about this
episode.
To me, it feels like, because now that is an entire generation, and it's not just 1 or 2 or 3 babies. There are many biracial kids in Samburu right now, and Samburu is like a village.
And then, you know, in those communities, these kids are not fully accepted. So it's why I'm really saddened to know that the young 17-year-old, she's looking for her father, despite knowing
how she was conceived,
but she's still looking for her father. At the end of the day, I don't blame her, because she's still, there's that child in her crying for a parent. Her mom passed away, you know, so the only thing she's left with is asking herself about her dad. And you see, in that community, they're not accepting her. They're like, go and look for your father so that you can get to have a better life, you know. I'm not really blaming her, and you'll find a lot of her generations growing up like that. That is really so
and
sad.
once they're given an opportunity to maybe even change their Kenyan citizenship to British citizenship, because the first place they faced rejection was Kenya. These are people who will always give, you know, Europeans a benefit of a doubt or a sympathy or listening ear.
Yeah, I feel like this in some way is still like some kind of oppression still going on in Kenya, and this is just one way it was manifesting itself. Because I feel like people of Samburu, the Samburu region in Kenya, they're really, really oppressed because their voices are not being heard. These women, a lot of them have gone without finding justice, yet the proof is just out there in broad daylight for people to see, the children that are being born there. And I feel like we need to thank the journalist who went and looked for this story, because were it not for him, he brought it to
we would
light.
have never known what's going on there.
Exactly, but because of him, we now know that the Kenyan government is receiving a mere
50 million.
$500,000.
What can 50 million do for an well, it can go a mile to help the Samburu community, but is it really going there, or is it going to officials' pockets?
Exactly.
That's the big question you're asking. You sell your people for a mere 50 million shillings for them to be taken advantage of by people, the same people who colonized your forefathers.
I mean, you guys,
It's beyond me.
we normally say Africa will never gain its respect for as long as we still have corrupt
Cases like this.
Corrupt leaders are in offices and they're letting their people suffer. You understand?
Right.
So long as they get to fill their pockets with money, they wouldn't care less what is happening. Because can you imagine the real situation on the ground? Because me, I was just watching this video was enough to get me angry. You know, and I've seen that the video was going quite viral when it was coming out, and
like
people
last week.
It came out last week, and people really were so angry about this happening. And I'm wondering, these officials in those counties, don't they get the same feeling or effect when they hear such cases? I bet you they don't, because their pockets are being filled with money.
First, the pockets are being filled with money, and then second, it's not their families that are directly affected by these cases, meaning it's not their daughters who've been taken advantage of by these soldiers.
I feel like every life matter. It doesn't matter if that woman comes from a city or if that woman is illiterate and comes from a village.
Right.
I feel like it doesn't matter. And you know, for a British soldier, just imagine preying on a vulnerable, because there was a woman who was giving her account there, Maureen, and she was talking about she was going to fetch water. For a woman in this day and age to go to the river to fetch water, because us here in the cities, we don't do that. We wait, the water comes through your the taps in your homes, so you have access to that. But for someone in the village to talk about going to fetch water, it means that there's really this person is coming from a small vulnerable community, and they don't even have basic access to basic things, you know, for you to go and harm them even further. So you can imagine the kind of mental health the people, especially women from that region, are facing. And then try and picture yourself, the men from that region, what are they thinking, what are they doing, you know?
So guys, please let us know what you think about this episode, and if you're new to this channel, please kindly remember to subscribe, and we'll see you on our next episode.